Yo, I'm at the Harvard game. Kickoff's in 10 minutes. Where are you?
I'm trying to get there, but there's no easy way to get to you.
Dude, just hop on the train.
I can't, man. It's across the city for me. Like a 30-minute walk to the closest station, then a 20-minute ride, and then like another 15-minute walk.
You're kidding. It's not even that far.
Exactly. If only there was a subway connecting the two schools.
Hello, welcome back to episode 5 of Subway Builder Boston. Last episode we hit about 99k ridership, so almost 100k. So I added 2 billion for the extra ridership we hit. And once we hit that 100k, I'll add in the other 5 billion, which we should be doing pretty soon today. The first thing I wanted to do was respond to the comments. All of you guys want me to add trains to our lines. So I'm going to go through and we're going to let the game run. And we're going to see where we need more demand. I want to get all of our high demand frequencies under 10 minutes, all of our medium demand frequencies under 20, and our low demand, depending on the route, around 30 to 40. This one can stay, or I guess 20 to 40 is the goal. If it's a longer route with not much ridership, we're going to keep it low frequency. But I do want to try to add low demand for all routes today. So let's go through, and I'm going to need to buy a bit more cars. So I'm just going to spend some money that we just made, just so I don't have to keep buying, because I know I'll need a lot. So this blue line, we're going to add another stop today. So let's add 3 high demand, because this is going to go up once I add that next stop, the frequency. Let's add 1 low demand or medium demand, and we'll keep 1 low demand on. As well as I want to keep the cars per train at 5 for all the routes. So if I switched it over to 10 for any, I'm going to reduce that so we can increase frequency. So this government or green line A, let's keep it at 3 and see how that does. We'll do, and then 1 low demand. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to reduce. This green line C is pretty busy, I've seen. So we're going to increase frequency, maybe even add a 5th one. But for now, let's do that. Medium demand, we'll keep it at 2 and we'll add 1 low demand line. And let's just go through this green line D. Let's have 3, see how that performs. I think this teal line, okay, let's get 2, 1 medium demand, and we'll see if we need to add any there. And also, did any of my green lines, we're running 10 cars. I don't think we'll have any routes that will need it for now. I might have to split off times. So if I have a green line C that runs during the off peak hours, and it would be a 10 car, but it would only run once an hour. That might be a solution. See, this pink line, I had 10 cars, but instead let's increase frequency. Let's do 17, because actually that's what I need. Let's work on that first. I'm gonna split off this route. So the easiest way is just to delete this, clear the schedule, delete the train that's on the tracks, and then we're gonna just delete the route. And then go through and rename it pink line. And one thing I want to do today is shorten all these names in preparation for the next couple episodes once we start adding new lines. So we're gonna keep it like that, and we're gonna call it CW for clockwise. And I'm gonna go through and add all the stops. Okay, nice. That should be good. I did realize I switched the names of these two. So this one is the clockwise and this other one is the counterclockwise, because it's running on the outside. It's running And you can see it's only using one rail. So thanks for the suggestion on that. I didn't realize. It would be nice just to have one line and it know to stay on one side, but it's not that messy. And we're also gonna rename all these. We're gonna shorten them just to their initials, because I want to add the commuter rail in. Maybe not next episode, but by episode 7. And that would be kind of messing up this area a bit. Okay, something like that. And then if we add extensions, you know, just like the green line, we can give them names. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rename this Encore for the Encore Casino that it's near. And then as well as I'm gonna rename the station that I call Dorchester. It's not in Dorchester, it's just on the street. So we're gonna rename this to Cabot, which is the train yard, I believe right here. And then we're gonna do / South Boston. So the first station I'm gonna add is actually up here in North Revere. We're gonna call this station Revere Beach. There's an Amazon warehouse right here that has some employment. I'll show you guys the demand stats. Some employment here, as well as all these residents around this area will be taking the station now. We are making some inroads right here, but I think this would, over here there's like 1,000, and I believe some of these residents hopefully will start either taking this station or this station. Some people said this station was a little unrealistic. I agree. Maybe we'll change it in the future. Right now I don't mind the setup. Like I said, you know, it's not gonna be super realistic, and in real life these type of stations would see a lot of increased development around the area to make it more dense, to make it make sense in the future. So let's add this station in, and we're gonna have it right here, just in between. And we're gonna have it at -5, and then we're gonna drop it down right away, so we can just go underneath all these houses over here. And I think something like that looks good. And then for this, I think we're gonna have to bulldoze a house or two. So let's see if can I just avoid. What is avoid? We'll bulldoze those 2 houses, and then connect up and add a crossover. And this will be our last stop for the blue line. It looks like there's a big gap until we get up to here, which I think this is Lynn. I'm not sure. But this is where like we'll start our commuter rail. If I show you guys the demand stats, yeah. So this is the farthest north we're gonna go. Beverly, I believe, or maybe Beverly's down here. But we're gonna have our commuter rail come from here all the way down, hitting all these, because this is a lot of population over here. And you know, if you're clicking, let's see where they're working. People are working downtown or at the airport. So we're gonna brainstorm commuter rail for episode 7. Episode 6 will be all about the downtown. There's a bunch of changes I want to make, including adding a station for North Station and South Station. That's just for the commuter rail, as well as connecting our yellow line. And then we're also gonna take the orange line off this central artery, and we're gonna build a new station at Government Center, just for the orange and the teal line. And then other things we're gonna do, we're gonna add a light metro around downtown, and we're also gonna quad out this stretch because there's a lot of traffic in this area. You guys will see when all this increased traffic, or when all these increased trains come online. There is a station, the real blue line station's right here, Wonderland. So I think these are close enough. It is the last stop, just like our blue line. It's the last stop for the blue line in real life. And now we're gonna go down and we're gonna extend our red line. Looking at our demand stats, there's a lot of opportunity down here. I wanna take it all the way to Ashmont, which is right here. So we're actually gonna build backwards so we know where we're going. we're gonna use all cut and cover. And let's try making this nice. And we're gonna run it down Dorchester Street. We're gonna have a station right here, because when I was looking at the demand stats, it seemed like this was a good intermediary. This is UMass Boston, which we will be focusing on today later in the episode. Okay, so when I go to trains, at 4 trains, it's still a 19-minute frequency. So we're gonna increase that. And if anything, we might have to do something downtown where because we're gonna have the red line extend up here too, in the future. I'm not sure where yet, so we're not gonna do that this episode. Especially because in real life, red line runs up this street, but I want our light metro running up this street to Tufts. So I think, and we have our green line right here, so I don't want to overlap these. So I think maybe we'll end up over here, and then we'll have a commuter rail station connecting to it. I think that's the idea. We could have a stop maybe right here. That might not be necessary. So I think we'll just have a stop here. In this area. We could add that today. There is some demand when I click. And where are these guys going? That's always important when you're clicking on these demand stats. So they're going, and then... So actually, we're gonna, while we're working on our red line, let's add that station in. And I don't know if it needs to be a quad when we have our commuter rail. Let's just build it, and... Let's build a parallel. And if we need to add the quad tracks, because we'll only have 1 train, I think this will be all right. And what should help is in the future, we're gonna bring the yellow line to Harvard, so people from the airport can get to Harvard. Why did I only have 1 stop there? Okay, we fixed that. But what is gonna be difficult is just the frequency. So 9 minutes isn't too bad. Yeah, I think that should be fine for now. Okay, nice. We have this red line extensions up here. We have the 1 extra blue station. And now we're going to start building our light metro. And before I do that, I'm going to save the game. Episode 5, Boston. Just so. And I'm going to release this save file in the description if you are playing along or want to give it a look. And now we are going to start on our college line. And that, we're just going to build our light metro stations. And I don't think we're going to have enough yet. So let's look at let's let the game run. And with all the increased trains, we should see a jump up in ridership. So let's see our nighttime rush and see what we get to. And you can always pin this when I'm building. So I'm gonna try to leave this up when I build out this route. Let's open those back up. We're at 98K, so we're very close. Very close. Let's speed this up. And I bet at 5 p.m. we're gonna hit it. Sign. Hey, and we hit it. Let's pause it right there. Woo! 100K ridership. So I'm gonna go through, add in that 5 billion, and that's going to be our spending money for our light metro line today. Okay, we're back. I added in our 5 billion for reaching our 100k ridership goal, and it's gonna keep going up, and hopefully today we hit maybe 110, 120. We'll see. I think this is gonna be a really popular line, so we're just gonna start building. We're gonna have it all cut and cover, hopefully, or most of it, and we're gonna have 2 stations at UMass. When I go to workers and I click, there's about 6,000 people driving here. So we want to see where people are coming from. So people are coming from the south. So hopefully they'll take the red line to our connection up here. As well as there's some workers scattered around. There's some by Tufts, which is important. And then when I go to Harvard, because that's one of our biggest employment centers, you can see along this route, we're going to be picking up some of them, especially when we go up to Tufts. There's about like 2,000 people in this kind of area that we'll start to, instead of driving, we'll start to take. And one thing I really like is like, when I click these buttons, like that's 200 people over here that live over here trying to get to Harvard. So one idea I did have a thought was at Malden Center having a station, and we'll test that. Because after Tufts, this area is not super dense, and it's basically adding a lot of time to our trip already. So let's start building. And what's this warning? Red line. If we get any overcapacities, we will be adding a train. But any almost capacity, we have a couple trains running, so there's probably just an issue with the maybe they were too close together or too far apart. And you can just see all the red, all the population moving around. That's awesome to see. So we're gonna start building, and let's have a station right in the center of campus. And then we're also gonna have a station, I think I want it right here, and that's to serve the dorms. And let's not build heavy metro, so let's go back and do light. There's not too much population in these dorms, but I think it's a logical stop, as well as there's a high school right here. I don't know what these buildings are. I know this is the high school. So that station will be for them, and then this station will be for our college. And let's see if we can just wrap around these buildings, which we can. Let's bring this down, connect this up. Can we get a nice, there we go. Delete this little track. Nice. And then we're gonna have a station right here. Oh, and I didn't name our stations, so let me do that real quick before I forget. If anyone's saying you didn't name the station, it's Ashmont. This is gonna be Fields Corner. I don't know why. That was just like this. There's a station right here, and that's what the name is. So we're reusing that. There is a JFK UMass station right here for commuter rail and the in real life red line, but we're just gonna call this Dorchester Columbia. I guess maybe this station we can call Dorchester, I think, if this is the neighborhood. Maybe shorten that. We did name Revere Beach, okay. And then let's add this station terminal. Is there any, what's the name here? Alewife Brookway. I know Alewife is this building, I believe. Let's just name it Alewife. Oh, and we already have some ridership. That's good to see. Yeah, if this station's getting ridership, I don't mind this extension. I think that would be the last station though. Our terminal station. So we've kind of hit our terminal stations for a couple lines. We have our, I don't want to go too further out without starting to use commuter rail, but if anyone's played kind of into the end game in this game, let me know. Do you just keep using the heavy metro, like commuter rail, where you're only having one large train every once in a while? Or are you increasing frequency and doing heavy? Yeah, because this can't go any further, this orange line. It's getting too long. Okay, let's go back. And we built these, so let's just name them while we're working. This is gonna be just UMass Boston. And hopefully I can have less cuts today. And then this is gonna be UMass Boston dorms. I don't know. I think that's fine, yeah. And then we're gonna have a station right here, and we're gonna build it at -11 because we're gonna have to cut through all this neighborhood. And to make it easy on ourselves, we're just gonna have it come right here. Let's scoot it over just a bit so it's in the center of the road. And we'll have it come here and then drop down once we get past these houses. Because we want to stay realistic with our costs and our routing, even though we do have the ability to give ourselves billions. And then our next station is going to be at Upham's Corner, which is down here. And the only reason I wouldn't just connect it straight to Nubian is because we're going to have a commuter rail line right here in the existing path. I don't want to copy everything they're doing in real life, but I do find it very helpful because we can run at grade for portions to save a lot of money. And it kind of gives us a route where we don't have to worry about hitting any houses. So we're going to build this station right here. And actually, let's see what the heavy station's going to be like this. So I think right here, we're going to put the light metro kind of at the top of this area. And we're going to have to make this -11 to fit. And we'll have it right there. And then we'll connect these tracks. And then Nubian, we're going to have it on this road so we can use cut and cover. Because last episode we made this station, I think -11. So that way we can have a station group. I think right there is perfect. And then we can run this down to -11. And can we get away? Okay, we can. Perfect. And then we'll just connect this up. I don't think there needs to be a station in between these two. There's a bit of coverage in this area if you want to get around. And the next one is, I was considering just having one station, but because these are two different lines, I think it's all right. And we're going to use -9 in this area so we can continue our cut and cover costs because it's much cheaper. And this, maybe we have to go down 1, which would make it a standard tunnel. That's all right. Yeah, because this station is at a weird height, I believe, or these tracks at least, and I don't want to demolish all the tracks right now. Connect those two, and while they are close, it's all right because it just increased coverage, and there's so much workers in this area. When I go to workers, yeah, I mean there's 10,000 there, almost 10,000 there. Another, yeah, so it's really fine to have this covered by a lot, just like downtown's covered by a lot of routes. This is a very busy area. And then we're gonna connect these two, and hopefully I can just run him along the road with no issues. And I think I'm just gonna have a really tight corner. Oh, slope too steep, I forgot about that. Actually, since we're already at, let's just swoop this in, and then we can bring it up. That way we don't have to worry about demolishing any houses. And we'll have it come right here. And let's just see, connect that. I think we have to make this nice and tidy. And no. Back this up, and then we'll connect in. There we go. Perfect. That's perfect. And now our next station, I was considering Harvard Ave, but because both lines interact at Agonis, we're gonna use this station. I did want to try to connect up all 5 universities. I think this is close enough to Boston College to be all right. And actually, we're connecting I know there's 2 colleges here, and then there's MCPHS right here. There's Harvard Medical, I believe, or they have the hospital is there. So we're actually connecting up more than just 4 or 5 universities. Connecting up almost all of them. And we're gonna run this station at -9, and I'm gonna run it on this street and see if I can't get away. I don't know. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have to run this at 11 so we don't demolish any of these buildings. And now that I realize, I think we missed the stop. So I wanna, this is kind of close. This is St. Paul's and Beacon, and it's a bit close, and I don't think we'll see much ridership, but I think it would help anyone in this area that needs a stop, and that maybe they live on Beacon, or yeah, this is Beacon, right? Yeah, if they live on Beacon Street and maybe they can't walk to one of these stations, it would help them a little bit to have a closer station to transfer. We want to think about them. And if I go to demand stats, we are getting a lot of usage here, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're actually right here, we're not getting much, but it seems like a lot of people are walking. Yeah, let's see if we're driving. So back here, we're still seeing a lot of driving numbers, so I'm interested. We're trying to get over there. Interesting. Where else are you trying to go? Downtown? You should be able to get downtown from there. That's weird. Go up. So maybe that's just something over time. It's gonna need to figure it out. And let's look at our demand stats actually. Wow. Wait, what the? We jumped up to 125k. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I think, thank you guys in the comments for telling me to increase their frequency. Whoa. Okay. 10% of our population is now taking transit. That's amazing. Okay, we're gonna add this money later on so we can keep building. We have enough for today. And that will be very helpful for this quad, because we're gonna have to remake all 3 of these stations, and that's gonna be pretty costly. Okay, that's awesome. 125k, wow. I wonder what it's gonna be like after this light metro route. So let's connect in Aragonus, and we'll build all these stations and then we'll give them names. And then, as mentioned in the intro, we're gonna have a station at Harvard Business School and a Harvard Stadium right here. They're a bit close, but to get across the river is helpful. And then we're gonna swoop this and then drop it down. And then I don't think we need to stop here. I think I think this station's close enough. We could always back this up too, but I think that's fine. And then we'll have a station here, and we can use -9 to save that money. And we can't. Why is that? Because that drops down. So if we have this as close as possible, let's see if that works without any building issues. Nice, it does. And then we can connect that, and we just have to watch out for that one building. Nice. And that should allow students from Harvard quickly take the metro over if they're living over here. And now we're gonna run a station, and we're gonna have a station right here at Porter, and this is gonna be another commuter rail intersection. So just so we remember, we're gonna use cut and cover, and I'm gonna make this station a little bit shorter, and I think that should be enough to drop it down right away. Let's see. Without, yes. And I want a station right here at Davis Square. So these stations are going to be a little bit close to each other. Or I think it's up here. No, I think it's over here. Because the reason I want those 2 stations close to each other is for this population. Either takes the Tufts line or this Davis Square line right here. So let's build that station just so we remember where they are. And this is also going to be at 9. And we're gonna have it a little offset right here. That way it can turn right away. And we're gonna drop this down right there. And then this, let's see, I think we can use the road for most of this. So we're gonna have to drop this down to get onto the road. And then we can drop this down to our 9 and connect in. It wants to connect like that. I guess that's all right if we're not demolishing any buildings. And now let's connect up this line. We're gonna have a swoop around the building. And this, we can just run a straight shot, which is nice. And right there. And then bring this in. Nice. And then we'll just have our Tufts line. And for today, we're just gonna end at Tufts. And I'll consider extending this route. I think if we extend it to Medford over here in Malden, Everett, I maybe would just extend it all the way to Revere Beach for this outer loop. And then I would just divide it at Tufts or maybe at Davis Square. So half the route is just running back and forth between the top part, and then the other part is running back and forth the south. Or even Harvard would be a good turnaround spot. So we'll consider that. This route is going to have a lot of trains, so we do have to worry about any traffic we're going to get. And let's drop this down. And I think we're just going to have to run it at 11 for the simplest connection. Nice, look at that. Little out. And this is going to be our Crimson line. Specifically because Harvard Crimson. And this is going to be when we got to make sure we click a light metro. We can give it our custom color. Something like that. That looks good. And we're going to title this LM College, or I guess Crimson line. How do we want to title this? I was maybe College Connector. And we want to use our box for our light metro. Yeah, that looks good. That's differentiated. If you guys want it to go back to the old way, let me know. I like the shortened initials, especially when I'm looking at all the stations. It's a lot cleaner, as you can see. Personally, I like that look a lot better, especially for moving around the map and stuff. And I forgot to add crossovers, I think. Yeah, I always forget. And we'll go back. And if we ever do have that switch at Harvard, we'll just include that right away, those two crossovers. I think that makes the most sense. That would be halfway between, if we had a route right here, that would be like halfway, or this Porter line. So now let's first put in our route, and then we'll change our station names. And that cost us around 1.6 billion, which was a little less than what I had expected. So we still have a bit of money to start expanding out. So first, let's just make sure all of our names, and this is gonna be up Ham's Corner. This, I always forget the station groups is to name the second station Nubian. We'll have Longwood Medical. And we have Beth Israel over here. Israel. We're gonna have St. Paul's, and we're gonna let this run. And let's add a train just while we're doing all this. Add a couple. So we're gonna run the 800 capacity per train, and we're gonna buy, I think, 20, or I guess 8. And we need, okay, we're gonna buy 32 so we can run 4 high demand trains. and then we'll have 3 medium demand and 2 low. And I know that this route should get a lot of traffic. It seems like these radio routes get a lot of traffic because they help connect, you know, parts of the city. Agganis Arena. And then this is going to be Harvard Stadium / Harvard Business School. I'm sure they'd want their name on it. This is going to just be Harvard. We could call it Harvard Square or something in the future. This is going to be Porter. Don't know why it's named Porter. If you want to let me know. This is going to be Davis Square. And then this is going to be Tufts. Tufts University. And now let's just let the game run and see how our routes do. And if you want me to change this color, let me know. I like the crimson. We're starting to run out of colors, so I'm gonna have to maybe reuse some. Can't use black line because we won't be able to see it at all. Okay, so our new line's already at capacity at Nubian. And let's see if that is an issue. And we're gonna open up our train routes, and we can see some of these routes might not need this low demand. Especially, so yeah, this red line with, so this orange line, let's first change that. This doesn't need 10 car, especially with this amount of frequency. So let's drop that down, and let's go back into trains. And if some of these routes aren't getting any, I'll remove. Let's see, do we have any duplicates now? And we're still making money. That's the important part. If we're making money, and that's one thing. I've had the fare pretty high. I think it's time to drop it down, especially with our, this is paying off the loan. That's why it's showing here. Especially making 200 million in profit. I think we can go making a bit less. So we're gonna drop this down to 350 first and see how that changes anything. If we have a bunch of increased ridership, that's awesome. So this next day, day 18, we'll run at that cheaper fare, and we're gonna run 4 times. And yeah, so next episode will be all based on downtown. We're gonna extend it to Seaport with a light metro line, much like the Silver Line should have been. And then if you guys have any ideas of where to expand next, let me know. I've kind of got all of Boston down now. I think next would just be commuter rail. So next episode, definitely want to fix up downtown, get it prepared. And then episode 7 will be commuter rail. And then after that, I'm pretty open to whatever you guys think. I need to learn about some of these towns around the area. When I zoom out and I hit demand stats, it is nice that there is so much demand in like some of these areas. I think it'll be fun to bring the commuter down. Even in real life, the red line splits off. I don't know what station. Somewhere by Ashmont, I believe. Or maybe that is the last station, because I know it goes to Mattapan. There's that Mattapan trolley. I don't know where that is. Because there's some demand right here, and I'm wondering if our red line could branch off and grab it, or if we should save that for commuter rail. Let's go to just all modes and look for these red spots while our game runs. There's some red up here, so maybe our red line could come right here. I don't know. Maybe this could be a light metro serving this area. There's a bit of red up here. And when you click on these bubbles, it helps seeing the population and then where they're going. Because if no one's going downtown, then you don't really need to run a downtown route. So these people are going there. Let's see, let's just look at this population. These people are going downtown. So they're able to take the green line if they want, and then transfer right here. So it's interesting that they're driving. Driving time is what? It will tell me. Driving distance 16 kilometers. So about 20 minutes. So I guess that probably is faster. That's interesting. That's something to consider. These people are just going over there. These people are going here. So if they're smart, they would drive here or drive to Tufts. Interesting. So maybe we just gotta connect in some of these dots and they'd start taking it. So maybe we have our green line kind of loop around up here and finish. Especially because our green line C only ends here. And there's not, yeah, there's density here to be had. There's some density. It seems like filling in the red line over, our crimson line over here makes sense. And then there's a lot over here. But this will all be served by commuter rail. And then we could even, I don't think that, yeah, there's no demand up here. I know that's Rockport, I believe. That's the last station for one of the commuter rail lines. And then, yeah, so maybe we'll have just commuter rail come down here. We could have a loop kind of coming around this area. Let's see where like these people want to go. 725 people, and they're all wanting to go downtown. These people, geez, they work far. They work all the way up here. Wow. Where are these people? These people are going across the river to Harvard. So let's work backwards while our game's running. And let's just look at some of our worker stats. And see, we're starting to turn some of these purple-ish, which is awesome. Lighting up these transit. We want to hit these all to be gold. For our transit at least. And then obviously blue. So let's work on, let's just examine this bubble, for instance. And see where the red is. So obviously blue's getting a bit. There's a red bubble over here. And then most of the red bubbles are just from outside of the city. Especially up in this northern part. And if we click on these, it should tell me. Yeah, it tells me most of these people work downtown. It's 250. And you can click on this and it says exactly 200 people can drive. So I wonder if we should run our teal line or save that for commuter rail. Because either way, it is going to be heavy metro. It's just a matter of with our frequency. Because if we keep extending some of these routes out, it's going to hurt the frequency of people who live closer by. So that looks good. Wow, that looks good. I like that. Let's save that. Maybe give it a screenshot. And let's examine how our route is doing. Let's speed up the game a bit. And if we go to route ridership, it's our least used line now, but I bet after today it's going to be our most used. And it's hitting a lot of capacity, okay. And our orange line is our most used, which is interesting, but I think it's because it's our longest. Same with our red line. But our green line overall has the most usage spread across the 4 lines. And there's this hidden line, and I don't know what this is. I might have to go through, and if anyone knows, there's just like no name. So I don't know what that's referring to. I might have to delete all the lines and see if it still shows up. I don't know if it's transfers, if it's just telling me exactly how many people are transferring or something. Let me know. So our orange line's at capacity, our red line's at capacity. And when we go to trains, we can see, so our red line I think needs one more train. So let's add that. Yeah, we can see. And it's, where's the 5th car? That's where I'm confused. I think it's just not, is it not out yet? There should be 5 trains. There it is. So let's see, is that hitting? It is. It's still hitting capacity. So let's increase frequency. 1 there, 1 there. Low demand, I think we can keep at 2. Orange line, we're hitting our capacity a bit. Sullivan Square especially. So we're gonna add, let's just like take a look at this. And it might just be a frequency. So they're all being used. And maybe we can just find wherever the train is getting really loaded up and pause it. Okay, so now 3 of them are pretty loaded up. And where are these trains? One's at Sullivan Square, I believe. Where is it? It's right here. Okay. Okay, that's that train. One train's there, Worcester. Another train is, okay. So they're all over. So let's increase frequency there. Help that a little bit. And I think no matter what, we're gonna always have one train just get crowded. And I think the issue we're gonna deal with is there's gonna be a lot of traffic down here. So I wanna let the game run and see how traffic is, or how downtown's handling all this traffic. It seems to be pretty well. I know the green line is gonna get backed up sometimes, especially in this stretch, just like real life. So we're gonna have quad stations, and my plan is for, I'll give it in detail. Next episode you'll see. So it's gonna quad into commons. We're gonna disconnect orange from the common line, and it's gonna have its own station at Government Center parallel. And then the A and D line are gonna go under both lines, and this north station is gonna, the 2 middle lines, we're gonna disconnect from this, and it's gonna send into Government Center orange, the orange station, and that way we can run the orange and teal line into Government Center and have its own station. And then these what is it, the A and C line, or the B and C line, are gonna go under and have a fly under into the station, so that way kind of helps the traffic here and no crossovers. So basically, like what we have right here, except for the orange line won't go into this station, it will go into another Government Center station. And then we'll also build those Amtrak stations, and we'll have them just kind of curl around everything, and it's just going to go underneath all the lines. So we're not going to do any commuter rail, but we will be building those 2 stations next episode. So this is kind of just a maintenance episode, as well as adding this new route, which just seems to get a lot of usage. So let's look at our trains and see if we need to add another one. I think we will. Let's add one more to get these frequencies down. I think that should be good. And see if we have issues there. It is a long route. And now we can look at all those trains going. I'm worried about my computer going forward. I'm just running this off a Mac. So hopefully it doesn't. Last episode, kind of like, I don't know what happened. It just started lagging a ton at the end of the episode. So I just wanted to get out of it. Because I have OBS running in the background too, which takes up a bit of the usage. So let's look at our, whoa. What the? 170K? Whoa, okay. So we went up I'm writing this down. We went up 80K in ridership today. And we haven't even let a full day run. Wow, okay. Props to you guys. I didn't have enough trains. Wow. Jeez, and we're still running at capacity. So this red line, Government Center, this Agonis Arenas is getting a lot of crossover, I'm realizing. So green line C is at capacity. Damn, we're just hitting capacity issues everywhere. So this orange line, let's start with that. Let's add one more train here. And then I think that should be fine. And then our college collector, let's add one more train. And then our green line C, we want to make sure we're hitting this target. We'll add one train. And then our red line, I think we need to add one more train too. We have 6 trains already. Let's wait. We don't want to overextend. and have too many trains running. And let's see, this is the middle day, and let's see, red line. Okay, so we might just need to keep adding trains. Yes, so let's see if this red line's an issue. I don't think so. I think that's enough. And let's wow, I'm just amazed. This just came out really good looking. Let's look at our station ridership. So our government center is now seeing 100,000 passengers a day. This is where it gets laggy. Oh, that's why. When I opened up this screen last episode, it's when it started getting laggy. So I just won't move around the map when we're examining this. So even our UMass Boston dorm, our least used station, is still seeing 1,000 passengers load on. Yeah, a lot of these light metro, that's why I wanted this a light metro route. I thought it would get a lot less usage, but it saved us a bit of money. But this Porter station's seeing a bit. And then all of our crossover stations are seeing a lot. And let's see this Ashmont station is seeing 17K. So if I go down here, I click on Ashmont, will it tell me where people are coming from? I think I have to do it like this, station ridership, and I have to click. Oh no, it doesn't tell me. It'd be cool if it had a map of everyone who's using this station exactly. And I can also sort it. I can sort by station groups. I can also sort it by individual stations to see which line. This red line is getting a lot of usage. Wow. I think that makes sense. I think anyone from the south of the map, this is their first station. Where up here, there's 3 different. On this side, there's a couple different. I guess you could take the orange, but I think if you look at demand stats, you know, all of this is going here. Wow, we're almost at 180K. So we're just gonna let this game. This is gonna be our last day for today's episode. Green line C, hitting capacity, incline. We haven't seen the pink line hit capacity today, so that's good. And since these aren't going over, I'm not gonna add any trains for now. And let's look at our route ridership. So our red line is by far our most used. Orange line comes in second. Green line C is seeing a lot of usage too. And that's why I'm concerned. I think I'm gonna have a commuter rail. Instead of having it go to over here, I think we're just gonna worry about commuter rail first, and then if there's any connections, I know Newton, there might be some, but it's just not as dense as even up here in Waltham and down here, it's just not dense in this area. So I don't think it makes sense to run the metro out here. Orange line's filled. Yeah, this Tufts station's getting a lot of usage. And once we disconnect all this, we aren't having any issues right now, but I bet at 5 p.m. we might have some issues. Let's speed it up and let's look back at our route ridership. And our yellow line is still our least used. And this invisible line, I don't know what this is showing up. Our yellow line is gonna help with the red line though next episode, because it's gonna go from Logan all the way to Harvard. And I might have to consider maybe going around Central. I'm just concerned about all the lines coming through this one, but it should be all right. But yeah, that will help ease some congestion off the red line, especially because people are probably coming downtown and then transferring out, and it will also ease some congestion over here if they're going to Central or something and they're taking a weird route. So that should help a lot. Or if they're going up here, let's say they're going to Tufts, instead of transferring the line right here, they could just take the yellow all the way to Harvard and then transfer. So it shifts some of these transfers from government center out. Okay, let's speed this up, end this episode, and let's just see what our rush looks like. So our 2 red lines are seeing a lot of usage. And I just don't know if we need to add a stop or add a train, I guess. Because we have 6 trains running right now. And only 1 is full. So I think that's alright. And wow, okay, so this college collector is seeing a lot of usage. And I think we have enough to add 1 train to this. Blue line seeing a bit. And what's helpful is it tells you the target trains. So we can go through and we can just see, you know, at peak demand, are we hitting the target that the game is setting for us? And I think we are. Yeah, for most of them. Red line is still always at capacity, it seems like. So we're just gonna keep adding trains to the red line. I don't want to see any more warnings, and we're gonna add a train to the orange as well. Get those frequencies down, especially during peak. Now let's see if that helps going forward. Now our 5 p.m. rush, and let's see. Let's view our downtown. Yeah, that's looking. Get a nice view. And I just want to see all the congestion. I'm really most worried about this section right here. It doesn't seem to be an issue right now. And we haven't got any like signal blocks. Oh wow, that's a lot. Look at all those red dots going. And we can see, oh, and it tells you by ridership. That's nice. So we have the station group and it's telling us by ridership what's going through. So yeah, see this red line. I wouldn't say it would split in half, but I would say about 10,000 would probably start taking the yellow line, because anyone transferring over onto the red line to get over here, it could just take the yellow as well in the future. Oop. Sorry about that. Green line B, it's hitting at Boston University. And let's see what Saganas. Wow, Saganas it's the college connector. So that helped out this station a lot. Adding in. Let's let it run just a bit. And we're making a lot. I want to see. Yeah. We're making we might make 300 grand in profit. Or 300 million in profit. Let the game run. And let's look at our demand stats now that we have a rush. And wow, okay, we jumped up to 180. So next episode, we will be giving ourselves 8 billion. I don't know how much. Maybe we need to stop. I didn't expect rapid growth this fast. I don't know what a target number is that's realistic. I think maybe 25%. I want to have an end goal for this series. Maybe 50% might be extreme. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I think 50% is the goal. The issue is we have 10% are going to be walking no matter what. So it's really, can we get this driving number down to like 40%? And that's going to require a lot of work downtown, especially cleaning it up. And we haven't got any errors for today. So I think that about wraps it up. Let's take a quick look. Let's do an overlook at everything. It's day 5. So we're first going to start our demand stats, as we've been looking. Returning a lot of the map blue. I want to see more blue down in the south, but even around our new red stations. We got some avatar going on over here. Looking good. All of this area is heavily served. I want to see more usage out of this area, so I'm not really sure why. So they're working down all the way down there. Okay, so maybe once the commuter rail comes through, that would help. It seems like South Station's kind of not holding its weight. Down here there's a bit of red, so I think it's just extending on, getting all this red. I think some of this right on the north would be helped by that light metro line. So we'll give it a different name, and we'll run something up here, connecting a couple of stations and maybe adding some intermediary stations in Medford. Maybe North Revere have a station up here. And then let's look at our workers are starting to turn, that purple color, so that's good. Our goal is this all to be blue. Everyone coming downtown, taking transit or walking. And then let's go over our route ridership. Red line, as I said, our most used, now hit 70K. So a couple episodes, our total system was at 70K. So that's pretty nuts. Our new line, depending on the time, probably hits 50K ridership. So this was a major improvement today of just another radio network connecting up a couple colleges. We have UMass Boston, we have the medical schools, as well as I think Emmanuel right here. This is connecting up Boston University and Boston College. We have Harvard and Tufts, and Northeastern. It's close enough. So Northeastern's connected too. So that's where a lot of our ridership, I bet, is coming. All these college students, all the medical professionals. And then our yellow line still, that's gonna jump up to next episode, and we'll have it nicely split. And now let's look at our route ridership, and it makes my game lag, so let's pause it. And then we can kind of take a look. Government Center now 111K. And Harvard is our second most used station, so that's pretty cool. And our least used station, and I'll go slowly through the list if you're interested. And seeing this is where people are getting on or off, not transfers. So our UMass Boston dorms is our least used, and that's alright. It's just an extra stop along the way. And this is seeing 24K, wow. And that's just our groups. If we go stations, it will tell you the individual stations. So our green line station, I would call it, at Government Center is saying 60K, and our north-south station seeing almost 80K, wow. Wow. And I don't know what riders who started or ended their journey at station. Oh, interesting. So maybe this isn't, because transfers. Okay, so this is what I meant. This is where people are getting on and off. That's interesting. And then we can just see if they're going to work, and then if we're going to home. That's pretty cool. See how it's all spread out? Well, that's cool. I haven't seen that yet. So home, everyone downtown, and then everyone goes home. And Ashmont is our most used home station. Oh, this gives us a lot of good detail. Aquarium, no one lives at the aquarium. Okay, this is cool information. And then transfers obviously here. And what's weird is there's transfers at the end of these routes, which means people are getting on, riding to the end of the route, and then coming back, which I think is a bug. I don't see a need to do that in real life. And we can do same with the stations. We can do this OD and C to work and to home. That's really cool. Alright, that about wraps it up for today's episode. I want to thank you guys for all the support. If you have any ideas or suggestions for new lines or new towns to branch out to, let me know. If you did like that video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. Next episode, we'll be renovating the downtown, and then the episode after that, we'll be doing our commuter lines. So I hope you guys all have a good one, and bye-bye.